She's not what you'd expect. She's tough and feisty, but gentle and tender. She makes millions and gives millions to the poor. She cries, she laughs, she teaches, she comforts. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
Hi, welcome to the Dani Johnson Show, the show that equips you every single day to succeed wildly at home and in the marketplace. We want to see you reach a level of success that you did not even know was possible, which is why every day we show up in your face, whether you're watching this on the UA network or the Truth Network on the radio and television. We bring you content every day that's going to have you move your life ahead. And not according to what society says success is. You are going to have the kind of success you desire, not the success that someone else desires. First, you got to define it. Today, we're going to talk about solving some problems, thinking outside of the box. My coworker found this amazing quote. I love this. I went, yes! By Albert Einstein. Listen to this. We cannot solve our problems with the same level of thinking that created them. Isn't that so true? A number of years ago, my husband and I came to a place inside of our marriage, and today we're not talking about marriage, we're just going to be talking about thinking outside the box and how do you solve problems. Now, we had solved certain problems the same way all the time, and then we came to a place in our relationship that the same old formula that we used the prior 20 years didn't work in this particular scenario. We had reached a place where we had done really pretty good for most of our marriage with lots of like tsunamis and hurricanes and earthquakes, sometimes all in the same day, you know, and then we'd have just seasons of absolute bliss and passion and being in love, and then seasons of I hate you, right? We had a lot of baggage, let's say, that we came into our marriage with. But we came to a place where we couldn't solve it. We had a point of contention, problems, both in our business relationship and our personal relationship and our marriage as parents, that it just was not working. Our normal formula, as well as our normal advisors, our normal counselors, everything was failing. The advice they were giving us was creating worse problems. I'm not kidding you. In fact, the advice that was given, what they were whispering in each of our ears separately, was causing the biggest disaster that we'd ever had in our entire lives. And I remember one day waking up and going, this is not working. We can't keep solving this problem with the same people, with the same advice that ends up fruitless. We need help. We need to find someone and something that is going to help equip us for this next level. We do not have the skill to help ourselves succeed in this scenario, and neither do the people that we are asking for advice from. The advisors we had trusted for a long time, they ran dry. They happened to be in a very dry season themselves. They had all kinds of problems themselves, and honestly should not have been advising anybody, especially professionally. In fact, they should not have been advising anyone professionally for like the last 20 years that they had been advising. But it is what it is. So I want to ask you a question. What do you do when you hit that blockade, when you come to that place where nothing is working, everything is just crashing down, falling all around you, your normal formulas are just kaputs? What do you do? How do you solve those issues? It's really important that you think out of the box and that you come up with a solution. Joining me now, we got Laura Love from Granada Hills, California. Beautiful place, by the way. Go ahead, girl. Tell me, what do you do when you come to that place where you just can't solve something?
Hi, Dani. Thank you so much for having me call in.
Sure.
I feel like you know exactly when I need this. Maybe it's God. I listen every day.
Oh, wow.
My Facebook response was, I said something along the lines of, my first response is to freak out. And this kind of happens internally in more recent days. I get inside of my head and I overthink things. Back when I was like a teen, right before becoming a teen, I accepted Jesus into my heart. My dad went into rehab. During that time, I felt super abandoned.
Wow.
And in between the teen and the early 20 years, I just took every drug in sight. And my first addiction was truly hurting myself, like cutting myself. And I know that was a way of me controlling the situation. And the drug part was me seeing it just that's what my parents did. That's all I knew.
Wow.
I had my daughter when I was 18. My dad just recently celebrated 22 years of sobriety.
Oh, my gosh. Awesome.
Super proud of him.
Wow.
He's an active Jehovah's Witness. My mother is and has been on meth since probably before my teen years. I understand how hardcore addiction attacks my family and myself.
Yeah.
So I feel this need to control my life. My best friend's an alcoholic. My boyfriend went through a 12-step program for pornography addiction, and I recently started going to NAR-Anon meetings, which is 12-step programs for people related to addicts.
Yes.
Which was recommended by my boyfriend, so I thank him and God for placing him in my life.
Yeah.
So just being around and listening to other people who have been through some of the same pain that I have, we have.
Yes.
Listening to this show has helped me realize that I need to take full responsibility for myself and my feelings and give it to Yeshua every
Yes. Man, I got to tell you, Laura, this is incredible. First of all, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for the pain and the suffering that you have had to endure with both parents being addicts. Congratulations on your dad getting free and being free for 22 years. It's so incredible. But I know the pain of your mom. My mom has been a drug addict my entire life. There was a short season where we moved her in with us, and she used to blame my dad all the time, saying that, I the only reason why I do drugs is because of dad. And by the way, he was my stepdad. He wasn't my biological father. My biological father and I have an awesome relationship. And he's not a drug user and never has been. But anyway, I know how hurtful that is. I mean, my mom traded us for drugs. She chose drugs over us. And then when she got clean for about 4 years, and then she was secretly smoking pot behind her back, and then the pot led to all the other stuff, crazy prescription drugs and everything you can imagine. It was a sad thing because she literally went back to the drugs. She OD'd 4 times in 4 weeks. On the third time, my husband and I sat down with her and said, our kids have never been a part of drugs. We have not had them anywhere near the culture of drugs or the culture we've been raised in. And I know you don't want your kids to know that part of life. So if you cannot walk away and go into a rehab, you're saying you do not want to be involved with your grandchildren's life. And it was an FU. She OD'd the next weekend, refused to go to whatever's, and she made her choice. It is so hard for a child, no matter if you're 45, 25, or 5, to wrap your head around the fact that you feel like, and again, it's just a feeling, that your parent doesn't love you more than a drug. And that's not the case.
Felt like that. Yeah.
I know, it does feel like that. They don't love themselves. They don't love themselves is what the issue. And if they can't love themselves, they can't love anybody else. And that's really where the root is. But I'm so sorry for all that you suffered through. Now, I find what you're saying so interesting because there was a season in my life where one of our sons had made some not so good choices and kind of went in a direction that was like shocking, like absolutely shocking. And it seemed to have been spurred by an influence of a pretty little girl. And but it turned out it really wasn't her influence, although it had something to do with it. But the bottom line is I remember seeking out and asking very, very successful friends of mine, people that were very high and influential, like, very well-known people in the world, that I felt that God really used in a very powerful way. And I remember saying, especially the families that, they had a lot of kids. Like one girlfriend of mine, she has 5 kids. They're financially independent. They're all over television. They're very successful. And it seems on the outside that their kids have never sinned, right? That's kind of how we see it. Like when we're going through hell, we look at everybody else and go, I'm the only one. This sucks, right? And what you said is so powerful. Being around other people who are overcoming the same addictions or overcoming the same problems massively helps. You walked through it too. And I remember asking my girlfriend, have your kids ever swallowed a stupid pill? And she's like, yeah. I said, no, like a horse-sized stupid pill. And she's like, yeah. Hello, Dani, I have 5 kids. My kids have been raised in a church. Of course they've swallowed stupid pills. And so she told me some stories. In fact, one of her sons was like looking at getting a divorce. And it was like, that would have been horrifying for their church. You know what I mean? They have a huge church. And that would have been a terrible thing for them to walk through. And she goes, listen, she said, they're his kids. And it is what it is. And we're just going to trust and we just pray. And so I found courage and I found hope in somebody else's crap. I did. I found her courage and hope in the fact that what seemed to be a perfect family on the outside, that they too had problems just like I had problems. And so I agree with you that that is one way to solve a problem, is to reach outside of yourself and begin to find other people who've walked through the same kind of thing. And so I asked tons of people, like even marriages, like, okay, I want the truth. Don't you give me the sugar-coated, stupid Christianese crap that, oh, since we've been in Jesus, everything is great. Don't give me that nonsense. I've had counselors lie to me, like lie. Even finding out that they'd been divorced for 12 years and still counseling people, telling people that they were still married.
Wow.
Living a freaking lie, right? And the wife goes, we've never had a crossword in our 52 years of marriage. Well, first of all, they hadn't been married for 52 years, number one. That was a lie. Number two, the husband's rolling his eyes and then meets me at the kitchen sink and goes, you know that's a lie. Yeah, thanks. Because that right there, that statement, we've never had a crossword in 52 years, that just sets me up for failure going, well, shoot. Crossword? Oh, honey. I cannot even tell you how many crosswords we've had. So it makes you feel like a failure. I don't know about you, Laura, but I find hope in people's failures. More so than I find it in the lily white, picket fence, Pollyanna, freaking perfect liars life.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
That drives me crazy.
Whoa.
Crazy. I love how transparent you are, how you can just really put the real out there and call people out. And I never had that as with my mom not being there, giving me what I needed. And I feel that you provide that to me. So thank you so much.
Wow.
You know,
Laura, that's so sweet of you. That's so kind.
First Steps to Success and the Dani Johnson website. Like, I seriously thought I had my priorities together, and I didn't. And it's just a trip how, you know, we think we're so right when we're not. Yeah. And I've bought Time Secrets, and I cannot tell you right now just how much I'm in school full time. I'm juggling. I don't feel like I'm just juggling everything anymore.
Yes, you got control over your life, which is awesome. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue right after this.
Sometimes life hands you lemons. So what do you do when you find out you can't make lemonade? Hear what others have done in that situation next on The Dani Johnson Show.
Do you dream about feeling more confident, more beautiful, more powerful? But instead, you're that girl that never learned to do their makeup, and now you feel lost in a sea of YouTube makeup tutorials. Or you're that new mom that can't get enough sleep at night and just wants to feel pretty again. Or the busy professional that wants to magnetize brand new clients and get more respect in the office. From the boardroom to the bedroom, xmhbeauty.com will help you. Our company has a proven track record of making beauty available on any budget, from celebrities to girls just like you and me. Our live classes, step-by-step tutorials, and insider secrets will have you standing out from the crowd. Go to xmhbeauty.com/Dani today to get your free gift from us. That's xmhbeauty.com/DANI.
Imagine living in a decrepit, unsafe hovel made of waste material on top of old mining tunnels that could explode and sink your home at any moment. Imagine no water to drink, no safe place to raise your children, no food for your starving baby. Imagine that your kids can't learn to read because they have to work to support the family instead of going to school. Could you imagine living in that kind of fear and hopelessness? This is exactly what families are dealing with in the poverty-stricken village of Santa Pancha, Nicaragua. These families can barely meet their basic food, water, and housing needs. We are transforming that village. Be a part of this miracle. I want you to go to the website now and learn how you can help. Go to kingsransom.org and click on Santa Pancha. There you can join with other warriors against poverty and help bring a miraculous transformation to Santa Pancha. That's kingsransom.org, kingsransom.org. The whole story of how I went from homeless to millions is right here in this book, First Steps to Wealth. I'd love to give you a free copy of this book. Just dial 888-757-8880. You can get your free copy of this book. It's like a real book, my friend. You can get an ebook copy for free right now, or if you'd like to pay the shipping to get this $15 book to your house, I'd be happy to send it to you. 888-757-8880. Get your copy of First Steps to Wealth today and begin on a brand new path of some great success.
If you've ever wanted to make millions, change the world, be the voice for the voiceless, and have a blast doing it, then you need to spend some time with this lady right here. She's been doing it for years, and she'll show you how. It's the Dani Johnson Show.
Have you ever reached that place where you don't know what to do? I have, like many times in my life. Today, we're talking about how do you move past those moments? How do you get from, that like you're stuck in peanut butter or something, right? Like you dove headfirst into peanut butter. You're like, help! How do I get out of here? What do you do when you reach a circumstance that you do not know how to fix? Well, I have like a couple little formulas that I've used, and then there's times where that formula just ain't working. Have you ever had that happen? Then what, right? Joining me now, Marilyn, because we asked this question out on Facebook, and Marilyn Christensen. By the way, if you haven't joined us on Facebook yet, what are you waiting for? Come on now. Hello, McFly. And Twitter. It's the same name, Dani Johnson Live, D-A-N-I Johnson Live. And by the way, we're here we're here every day, 5 days, 6 days a week on the Truth Network, which is a radio network, as well as the UA Network on television. 6 days a week, you can find us on TV and radio, and of course on YouTube 24/7, and on Facebook and stuff like that. But you need to join us on Facebook. And by the way, you can find us at Dani Johnson Video, really? On YouTube. That's what the screen says the name is, Dani Johnson Video on YouTube. Okay, anyway, Marilyn Christensen from Washington. Marilyn, welcome to the Dani Johnson Show.
Hi, Dani. Thank you for having me.
Yes. Okay, so girlfriend, what do you do when you reach that place, right? I love the Albert Einstein quote of, we cannot solve our problems with the same level of thinking that created them. What do you do to solve problems? Yeah.
Stay calm, stay positive, because I can control things.
How?
How?
Yeah.
Well, God said, you're my peace, so I have peace.
Amen.
So what I do when I encounter something like that, I stay peace and I pray that God give me the strength to do and wisdom how I react with this situation.
Okay, so then Marilyn, I have a question for you. Has that ever failed? Have you ever thought really positive through a really bad situation and prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed and confessed, peace, I have his peace? Have you ever come to a place?
Well, for the first time, what was the beginning of it before I got saved and everything? Well, it's hard. But
I'm talking about after. I'm talking about after, because I promise you that God always challenges our little formulas. Always.
Yes. Well, yeah, you have those reactions. You kind of like, I have to choose. Am I going to be angry or am I going to stay peace?
Yes.
So I have to choose to stay calm, because I can't freak out, because it doesn't resolve anything if you freak out. Right?
No, but let me ask you, have you ever freaked out even though you told yourself that you need to not freak out?
Well, not anymore. I used to be.
Like, so in the last 20 years or however long that you say you've been walking with God, you have not had a single moment of freak out. I want your kids' phone numbers. I'm going to ask them.
I have. Yes, I did freak out.
Okay.
I freaked out, and I didn't know what to do, and you get upset, and then
and it's a waste of time.
That.
Yes.
And, especially as a young mom, you freak out and you get upset that kids did something, and then they don't realize, like, oh wow, how I react that way. Sometimes we don't think before we say something, right? We kind of
Really?
it, and then later on we realize, like, you know what, I'm wrong.
Yeah. Right? I'm still working on that think before you speak thing.
But, now, I mean, now that I have, I mature a little bit of my spiritual walk with God, and now when something come up or something, I'm pretty calm. And
that's awesome. That's awesome. It's a really good idea to have some other people analyze you. It's a really good idea to do that. I know you're way better than you used to be, but it would be a really good idea to ask your husband or your coworkers or your children, people that are around you that actually see you all the time, and say, hey, is there any area I can improve in when it comes to freaking out? Like, would you assess me?
They tell you your kids they're not gonna lie. They're gonna tell you.
Exactly. Exactly.
So that I lost my husband. When I lost my husband, my first reaction, I didn't freak out. I felt numb, but I didn't kind of like got mad with everyone, but I got mad at myself.
Yes, I understand completely. Well, Marilyn, I'm so happy for you, and I'm so glad you're doing so good. That's really good. And one of the ways to stay doing so good is to have some people around you assess you and say, hey, is there any areas that you think I should improve on in my character? That's what I do with my family and the people that I work with. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more right after this.
Be sure to tell a friend about the Dani Johnson Show. It just might be the key to the breakthrough they need.
This is your chance. This is your shot. Get your copy of War on Debt right now. There's one waiting for you that has your family's name on it. And inside that package is freedom. Your family's freedom is on the inside of that package. All you have to do is open it up, press play, and start applying what I teach you in this program. 888-757-8880. You and I are going to help your family become completely debt-free in the next 5 to 7 years. Just imagine how that's going to feel.
Did you know you can see Dani Johnson live and in person? Go to DaniJohnson.com and find out about our next live event. First steps to success. Register today. Call 866-760-8255 or go to DaniJohnson.com/FSTS.
Prior to plugging into DaniJohnson.com, I was working 60 to 75 hours a week. I was completely stressed out. I was incredibly angry with my husband. We were in over $350,000 worth of debt. By applying the strategies that Dani teaches, in the last 3.5 years, we have paid off $170,000 in debt. We are no longer roommates, and we no longer spend every single cent that we make. We now have made tens of thousands of dollars in passive income in investments. We are on the right track. We're traveling around the world together, and we are building homes for those who really need it. So I don't know about you, but if you want to cut back from 60 to 20 and 30 hours a week, if you want to mend some relationships, if you want to make your life more efficient and a lot more fun, and you want to be the best version of you, I highly recommend that you get registered because your life is about to change.
Prior to plugging into DaniJohnson.com, first steps to success in creating dynasty, my wife and I were really lost. We were struggling in a relationship. We were struggling financially, drowning in debt. Our relationship was really broken. We were in a bad place. We were living in two completely different states and not really honoring each other. Once we got plugged into the community, we noticed a shift in our lives. Most importantly, we came together as a husband and wife. That was the first thing we did. And when we finally came together under the same roof, things started to change. Over the past 3 years, we've been able to pay off over $495,000 in debt. I know in my business, I've had a job created for me that increased my income by 50%. That has actually opened up the door to allow my wife and I to spend more time with each other. So I don't know where you are. I don't know if your relationship is super awesome. I don't know if your job is immaculate. I don't know if you're debt-free. But what I do know is if you're not any one of those things, your next step is to get plugged into DaniJohnson.com, go on the website, get plugged into this community. I promise you, your life will never be the same.
And prior to plugging into DaniJohnson.com, I was a broke college student, drowning in debt, and I felt like the world was crashing all around me, and I had bad relationships. Since plugging into DaniJohnson.com and First Steps to Success, I was able to pay off $6,600 in 4 months. Now I'm able to give 10% of my income to wherever my heart desires. I actually, using the skills that I learned from Dani, I actually landed a job before I graduated college, and I'm able to travel the world. All I know is if you're serious about annihilating your debt, traveling the world, helping people, and having fun doing so, I highly recommend you get registered for the next First Steps to Success. Do it now, don't wait, don't even thinking about it. If you're ready to change your life, just do it.
We went to our first ever First Steps to Success just 10 weeks ago, and it has definitely been life-changing ever since.
We felt like we got hit by a 2x4, but it was the best 2x4 because what we realized is that our priorities were clearly out of line. I had been building a home-based business and had been working 80 to 100 hours, and I realized that that is not my role, and that I had actually taken my husband's, and it was that realization that something had to change, and we immediately went home and changed everything. There was no hesitation. We said, you know what, we need to be obedient to God.
And we've implemented the tools day one. We started implementing what Dani taught us, invested in ourselves, invested in our kids, got our priorities in line. We've now actually paid off just not quite $60,000 in debt and looking at a couple more investments here as head of the household.
It's been absolutely incredible. So I just encourage you, if any of this speaks to you, if you're wanting to get out of debt, if you're wanting better communication, if you're wanting to elevate to the higher level of life, get to First Steps to Success and plug into DaniJohnson.com.
I just heard this amazing story. One of our clients had written us telling us that they had used job domination and unlimited success and has absolutely exploded their career. He said, Dani, I don't know where I'd be today without job domination and unlimited success. Listen, do you want more recognition from your coworkers? Do you want to be recommended to people all over the world? Do you want to be somebody that is highly sought after? Listen, if you're in a dead-end place where this gentleman found himself, but then learned new strategies and changed everything in his work life, and obviously this has resulted in higher bonuses and pay raises, you're next. 888-757-8880. Get your copy of Job Domination right now. 888-757-8880. Again, 888-757-8880. Job domination. That's what you need. It's time for you to dominate the job market and break through the rut that you're in.
What multimillionaire do you know that volunteers their time to help ordinary people like you and me? There's only one. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
Some of the biggest breakthroughs in innovation come when two unrelated things are married together. If we want to solve problems, we have to become a people that think outside of the box. Sometimes our habits create problems. Sometimes the way we solve problems creates more problems. Have you ever had that happen? I have. Oh boy, have I ever. Hopefully through life, we become a people that learn how to, think of, a bigger picture, what the result is of what our actions are, what the result is of our attitude, what the result of our decisions are, and who all is affected, infected even, by our choices. And so I believe that if you want to succeed, which is what this show is about for you, helping you to succeed in every area of your life. I mean every area. In the marketplace and at home. You living out your success destination according to the way you are designed, according to who you are, according to what your character is, not according to what society, myself, or anybody else, especially mainstream media, not allowing anybody else tell you what that should be, but instead really discovering you and discovering how to live that out and how to reach the top of your personal game. In doing so, the path of success is completely paved with disasters. It really is. Every marriage goes through disasters. Okay? Being a parent, you're going to go through disasters. You're going to have times where you want to quit. You're going to have times where you pull out your hair. As a business person, working for somebody else's business or starting your own business, you are going to encounter disasters and trying to become financially independent. Yeah, you're going to encounter disasters. Every single one of us do. We always will here on planet Earth. The question is, how do I solve those disasters? And hey, how do I prevent some of them? Now, you can't just crawl into a hole and die thinking, okay, well, if I crawl into this hole, no disasters are going to happen to me. That's a lie, and you know it. Well, if I don't dream, then I won't get disappointed. You know that's also a lie because you probably haven't dreamt in about a decade, and you still are living a very disappointed life. Everyone around you is disappointed, too. They want you to do something, trust me. More importantly, the one who put you on this earth really wants you to do something. You can't just sit on the sidelines and do nothing. You can't just withdraw and say, well, I'm just afraid. I don't know if it's going to work. What if what I did last time happens this time? Well, if you go about things with the same mindset and you go about it with the same formula and you go about it in the same way, well, then, my friend, you know what the result's going to be. You already met your own expectations. But when we look at some of the greatest, most famous innovators in all of history, right? Come on, here's a list of them. There's so many of them, right? We've got Steve Jobs, you got Bill Gates, Richard Branson. These people have changed the world, okay? Larry Page, Jeff Bezos, okay? These are out of the box. Think Albert Einstein, out of the box thinkers, okay? Thomas Edison, out of the box thinkers. Come on, 1,000 mistakes. Right? 1,000 mistakes to make the light bulb. He just says, I created 1,000 ways not to do it until he found the way to do it. He didn't keep repeating the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. No, he kept changing it, tweaking it until he found the formula that worked. And so we have got to learn from people like that, right? We need to expand our horizon and quit putting ourselves in this crazy rut of saying, well, it's the way it is. My parents were broke, I'm broke. My mama was overweight, I'm overweight. My daddy was a drunk, so I'm a drunk. It's just the way things are, Dani. You just can't change some things. It's just the way some things are. It's just the way I am. I'm negative. I'm just negative. That's how I am. My dad was negative. My mom was negative. My sister, we're just a negative family. Nothing's going to change that. And guess what? I ain't going to try to change that. In fact, turn me off. Please, don't waste the airspace. Go away. Because we don't want your negative airspace over here. Go away. Because you obviously want to stay that way. If you are selling yourself that your family's negative, you've always been negative, well then, by golly, stay that way and turn me off. Let somebody else have a chance. You're going to stay stuck if you don't find a way to change. And the first thing that has to change is your head. Your head has to change because how you see things, your perception of things. And by the way, you and I only use 10% of our brain. That's all we use. We use 10% of our brain. That's it. Scary, isn't it? We think that we use 100% of our brain. We do. How arrogant is that? But studies and science has proven we only retain 10% of what we read, see, or hear for the first time. 10%. That's it. And look, if you're anything like me, I got a confession to make. I'm one of those detailed kind of people. Yeah. Which can be an asset and a massive liability. It can be a massive liability, especially in relationships, especially with arguments. Because in my mind, I saw every tiny little detail. And yes, I absolutely saw and heard more details than, let's say, my husband. But he has his perspective. He was there. He was a part of the conversation. He used 10% of his brain. I used 10% of mine. We saw the exact same scenario, completely different. We heard the scenario, completely different. We heard and saw the scenario according to who we are, our own filters, like our insecurities. We saw it and heard it according to our own understanding, our own knowledge base. Two completely different humans can look at a scenario, experience a scenario, and have a completely different description of what actually happened. So, I was the idiot that used to argue that, no, this is exactly what happened. This is exactly what was said. And this is exactly where it was said. And this is exactly how it was said. What an idiot I was. What an idiot. I came to a place where I realized I can't keep approaching these conversations in this way. I have to change. I have to change my approach. I have to get rid of this pride. I have to change the way I see things. I have to allow someone else the liberty, the freedom, the privilege of seeing things their own way. And I also have to come to the place of going, that's their perspective. That's their perception. And I can't change that. And no one's going to change mine either. Someone trying to force me to see something their way is not necessarily going to help me see anything. In fact, most people will just fight not to see it. I don't know if you've ever experienced that. So we're talking about innovation. We're talking about solving problems. We're talking about what our methods are that when we encounter something we don't know how to do, or we encounter something that we want to do and maybe don't have all the skill and ability to do it ourselves, what do we do in that situation? So we put that question on Facebook. We have Elizabeth Laird joining us from Las Vegas, who has an answer. Hi. So what about you? What do you do in that situation where you don't know what to do, or you're needing help or guidance and lacking skill in some area?
Oh, Dani, let me tell you, this has been a very, very powerful program today.
Really?
I mean, I've been in tears twice over things that you said that were just so remarkable.
Wow.
But anyway, what I do is, first of all, I'm one of those people, I'm a very high A people person, so I'm out there. But the first thing I do when I find myself in a quandary, like a challenge like that, is I go within myself and I try to look at it from a different angle. I pray a little. And then I learned something at a very young age. I finished school very early, and I got a job for an Army efficiency expert.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, my God, I'll never do this. But he used to teach me things. You know, when he'd have a few minutes extra of our hectic insurance life, he'd say, come here, let me show you something. So he showed me a flowchart method, which worked very well for me throughout my career, different things that I've done. You literally make a box, and you say, I have to do X, Y, Z. And then from that box, you go, well, if I do this, this will happen. If I do that, this will happen. I found that that's really a good thing in family relationships, because every action has a reaction.
Yes, it does.
So I go, well, if I punish the kid for a week and I make them do this, what happens? Who does it affect? Like that. The other thing I do is by flow charting, I realize where my weaknesses are. Like if I don't, I don't understand the mathematics of it, or I've got to call somebody who's got expertise in whatever area it is, because I can't know it all myself.
That's right.
The older I get, the more I know.
Isn't that
you
so
could read
true?
from now until eternity, and you could never grasp all of it.
Yes, so true.
So this flow charting method has really worked for me. Like in family surgery, if you say, well, if I get divorced, who's this going to affect?
Woo!
But if I go to counseling, who's that going to affect?
Wow.
Is that a better method? I find that family and friends, I reach out to them sometime, but I find they're like overly critical.
Yeah.
And when I was an executive, I was sitting at my desk one day and I was like, boy, did I screw this up, And I realized it's okay to make a mistake.
Yes.
That's what life's about.
But it's not okay. It's not okay to not correct it. Exactly. It's okay to make a mistake, but it is not okay to take responsibility, to not take responsibility. It's okay to screw up. It's not okay to wallow in it. It's not okay to blame because of the mistake. It is the right thing. Yes, make a mistake. Own the mistake and then make it right. Man, Elizabeth, I love this idea of your flow chart. I think it is a brilliant idea. I love that you've been using it that long. I love that you were an executive. Obviously, you became very, very successful in your life. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more right after this.
There's one thing that holds most people back from unbelievable success, and you will be shocked when you hear what it is. It's coming up next on The Dani Johnson Show.
Hi, I'm Dani Johnson. The most common question I get usually are from people who are trying to juggle their life. They've got kids who are involved in all kinds of activities. They've got business or their job, finances, trying to get out of debt, plus all their church activities and all the volunteer activities, and they're pulling their hair out going, how do I juggle this all? Man, I once lived just like that until I learned Time Secrets. Time Secrets showed me how to be able to cut my hours from 100 hours a week that I was working down to 20 hours a week and tripled my income as a direct result with what I learned. Time Secrets also showed me how to get my priorities in order, which healed up my marriage. And I became a mother that I was proud of versus becoming the mother I didn't want to be. And so if you feel like your world is running around in all kinds of different circles, you can fix that. Call 888-757-8880. Again, 888-757-8880 for Time Secrets.
My name is Mario Johns. I'm from Scranton, Pennsylvania. And I just want to share with you on April 14, 2013, that was the first day I heard the name Dani Johnson. And I was so inspired by her story, and I just had to find out, how did she go from homeless to millionaire? And it was just so inspiring to me. So I went on DaniJohnson.com, and I started getting the daily emails, the daily fixes, and then after a while, I just stopped reading them for some reason. And August of 2013, it was 4 days before my first event. After work, I went on YouTube, and I typed in Dani Johnson's name, came to my mind, so I typed it in on YouTube, and I sat at my kitchen table for about an hour and just listened to testimonial after testimonial. And I was just so inspired. I'm like, I have to get to this first steps to success. And I had no money. I didn't know how I was gonna get there. The funny thing was, a week prior to this day, I got a credit card in the mail that I never asked for. It was a $1,200 credit limit. I was gonna cut it up, but I figured I'd save it for like the emergency. I got my event ticket, my flight, and my hotel room. I maxed that sucker out, and I came down to Dallas, Texas. And the first 3 hours of the first day, I was just like in tears the whole time. I was just so blown away. It was something that I was just so hungry for. And prior to plugging in, I was a depressed, hopeless, suicidal drug addict. I hated myself, I hated life, I hated other people. I felt like a slave to debt, and I actually accepted debt as part of my life. I had toxic relationships, and I was, and then since plugging in, I've been drug-free for 15 and a half months now. I paid off over $13,000 worth of debt in a little over 13 months. I've completely restored my relationships with my family, my friends. I have amazing friends today from around the world. I love my life, and this is just an honor to be up on this stage. But if I just want to say, if you're new here, one thing that I wish I did is one of my favorite products is War on Debt, and I'll be honest with you, I haven't been following that as like I should be. My first event, if I got War on Debt and followed that with diligence, today I'd be debt free. So I just want to encourage you, if you're new here and you have debt, I highly recommend getting that, because that's by the end of this year I want to be debt free, and that's my goal. So please help me welcome back to the stage America's favorite millionaire, Dani Johnson.
And now, back to the Dani Johnson Show.
Listen, mistakes are bound to happen. In fact, this is really wild. I recently had heard about somebody who had said, I'm just so afraid of making mistakes. And it's so sad, because when you are afraid of making mistakes, you never reach your potential. I'm afraid of losing the money. I'm afraid of trying because I'm afraid that it's not going to work. This is just the saddest thing to me, because listen, the root of that mindset and the root of those excuses, because that is what that is pride. That's what that is. The root is pride. When we have a heart that's filled with pride, we also have a heart that's filled with fear. You're like, no, Danny, prideful people are like arrogant. No, you are totally ignorant yourself. Because anytime that you make yourself the issue, that's pride. And so I am afraid is you are the issue. And it's straight up sin. It's straight up sin. We're supposed to live by faith. We are supposed to not avoid making mistakes. That doesn't mean we run straight into mistakes. That means that we are supposed to be risk takers. Because without faith, it's impossible to please God, number one. Number two, faith without works, without action, is dead. We are required to be risk takers. We are required to go out and try. And in the trying, we will learn through the mistakes. Mistakes are teachers. That's what they are. Mistakes are teachers. Failures are teachers. They teach us what didn't work, and we then have to do a couple of things. Number one, own it. Own the failure. Own the mistake. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I really messed that up. What can I learn from this scenario? What can I do better next time? What am I left with in this scenario, and how can I fix it? You got to learn how to ask questions. You got to learn to ask for help. You got to learn to ask for advice, and you really got to learn to ask questions for help and advice first and foremost from the one who put you on the planet, the one who has a plan for your life, the one that knows you inside and out, all of your weaknesses and all of your strengths, the only one that actually can help you. So we asked a question on Facebook about how do we deal with mistakes? How do we deal with problems, and how do we approach them? Do we innovate? Are we innovative in these problems? Do we see it as a problem? Do we see it as a crisis? Or do we see it as a challenge and an opportunity to make things better? It's all in how you look at it, right? All right, so joining me now is Jackie Town from California. Jackie, welcome to the Dani Johnson Show.
Hey, Danny.
Hi. What about you? How do you handle it?
Actually, I'm not quite sure that I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to be doing. That's where this question comes in. When I met my husband, he was not religious, but he grew up with the Catholic religion. Mm-hmm. "Quote unquote" being shoved down his throat. So he
Poor guy.
His beliefs.
Poor guy.
But I know. So I was never forced to go to church. So I believed, but I wasn't in that setting.
Right.
He's had a lot of disappointments in his life.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask you a question, first of all. Have you had a lot of disappointments in your life?
I mean, not that I dwell on.
Can you wait? I didn't ask you that question. The question I said was, have you had a lot of disappointments in your life?
Yes.
Okay, let's pause. How did just one of those disappointments feel?
Discouraging.
Tell me more about that.
I wanted to know why. And, you look to the one that you think has the answers to give you. And sometimes you get those answers, or you're just not listening hard enough.
How did you feel about you during this discouragement?
Maybe that I did something wrong.
Uh-huh. And how did that feel, that you felt like you did something wrong?
Oh gosh, awful. Even more discouraging.
Right.
There was just more things that I could mess up.
So you kind of became afraid.
Yes.
Right? Now, I want you to multiply those feelings. And that's how your husband feels. Mm-hmm. So oftentimes, you obviously have the spirit of an overcomer, right?
Yes.
And your husband isn't. He's not been given that grace.
Correct.
You have forgotten what it feels like to fail. And when we have forgotten what it feels like to fail, we don't have compassion for those who are failing. We lack compassion and understanding of feelings for the suffering, the deep-rooted suffering that is wringing our neck and trying to take us out. And when we're with somebody that doesn't understand, that can't connect in that place, it hurts even more. I want you to go back, Jackie. When you had that failure and you became afraid, was there anybody around you that you felt could totally understand and hear and feel your pain?
No one.
So how did that make you feel?
That I was alone.
Yeah.
There was no one to turn to. Nobody would know exactly what I was talking about.
So you felt lonely, right?
Yes.
So let me ask you another question. You were surrounded by people, but you were lonely.
Yes.
Is it quite possible that's how your husband feels?
It's quite possible. Very much so.
What would you say the percentage shot of possibility it is?
Very good. Probably 90%.
So what do you think you should do, Jackie?
That's my question.
No. Based on what our conversation is right now, baby girl. What do you think you should do? Let me ask you this. Have you aided in your husband's loneliness by... Get over it already. I've had disappointments too. When are you going to move past this?
Not in those words.
Whoa. 93% of all communication is nonverbal. I heard it in your voice. That's how I knew it was going on. You didn't even have to tell me how you felt about your husband in his spot of disappointments. You entered this conversation comparing you to him. I'm better than my husband because I have the ability to overcome bad disappointments. My husband sucks because he doesn't. That's the message I heard.
I don't know if I...
No, that's...
Wow.
This is what I want you to do.
He's hard-headed.
Oh! Jackie!
I know
Jackie!
you come around the same way.
Oh! Who's hard-headed? Who's hard-headed?
I didn't say that I wasn't.
If you are going to look at him, it's time for you to look in the mirror. And if you were in the same boat, feeling the same way, and your own wife, who's supposed to be your helpmate, who's supposed to believe in, edify, encourage, stand with, stand by when he's bleeding and dying inside, is saying, are we still dealing with this? Why can't you get this? You're hard-headed. Girl, think about that for just a minute. Just think about that for just a minute. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more right after this.
Don't go away. The next segment might just change your life. This is The Dani Johnson Show.
Hi, this is Dani Johnson. Let me ask you something. Do you dream about being more confident, more beautiful, more powerful? Are you that girl who never learned to wear makeup and now you're lost in a sea of YouTube videos? That busy mom who can't get enough sleep and just wants to feel pretty again? Or maybe you're that professional who wants a little more respect in the office. From the boardroom to the bedroom, celebrity makeup artist Xtina Harmsworth from XMH Beauty will help you. Xtina has a track record of making beauty easy on any budget. Her live classes, simple step-by-step professional beauty techniques and insider secrets will set you apart from the crowd. So don't sit on your dream another minute. Learn from the best. Get your exclusive free gift from Xtina today at xmhbeauty.com/Dani. That's xmhbeauty.com/DANI. I just heard this amazing story. One of our clients had written us telling us that they had used job domination and unlimited success and has absolutely exploded their career. He said, Dani, I don't know where I'd be today without job domination and unlimited success. Listen, do you want more recognition from your coworkers? Do you want to be recommended to people all over the world? Do you want to be somebody that is highly sought after? Listen, if you're in a dead-end place where this gentleman found himself, but then learned new strategies and changed everything in his work life, and obviously this has resulted in higher bonuses and pay raises. You're next. 888-757-8880. Get your copy of Job Domination right now. 888-757-8880. Again, 888-757-8880. Job Domination. That's what you need. It's time for you to dominate the job market and break through the rut that you're in. Imagine living in a decrepit, unsafe hovel made of waste material on top of old mining tunnels that could explode and sink your home at any moment. Imagine no water to drink, no safe place to raise your children, no food for your starving baby. Imagine that your kids can't learn to read because they have to work to support the family instead of going to school. Could you imagine living in that kind of fear and hopelessness? This is exactly what families are dealing with in the poverty-stricken village of Santa Pancha, Nicaragua. These families can barely meet their basic food, water, and housing needs. We are transforming that village. Be a part of this miracle. I want you to go to the website now and learn how you can help. Go to kingsransom.org and click on Santa Pancha. There you can join with other warriors against poverty and help bring a miraculous transformation to Santa Pancha. That's kingsransom.org, kingsransom.org.
The way you look at things is about to change. It's the Dani Johnson Show.
So what do you do when you think that you're stronger at something than your husband is? Well, number one, you got to put yourself in their shoes, especially when it's a husband-wife situation or man-woman situation, because it's incredibly degrading to a man when he has lost faith. It's so much worse for a man who has lost faith and is in fear. So much worse for the man because he's supposed to be the warrior. He was wired to be the warrior. And when he now has fallen and is in fear and feeling like a failure, his manhood is nearly be taken away from him. And this is where we women have got to not be his mother trying to correct him. But this is where I say, I'm so sorry. I've really screwed up. I have not been compassionate. I have not been kind. I haven't treated you the way I would want to be treated in the same exact circumstances. I can't even begin to try to understand how you feel because I'm a woman. I'm not you. I haven't lived through your life, through your eyes, through your mind, your heart, your body, your soul. But please forgive me. And I'm going to work on compassion and kindness, and I'm going to work on encouragement and edification and standing with you regardless of how you feel on a day-to-day basis. I'm going to continue to speak love and life, and I believe in you, and these are the things I love about you, and these are the things that I will always love about you. That would be my recommendation of what to do. You see, when we make a mistake, if we're looking at other people's mistakes and we're looking at other people's attitudes and how they've done it, and we're not taking personal responsibility in our part of what we've done to aid in that attitude or that fear, we're messing up. Compassion, kindness, always. This is amazing. Kindness leads us to repentance. It's not conviction. It's not pointing out someone's wrong. It's not trying to teach them something. It is the kindness of the Lord that leads us to repentance. Kindness leads to repentance. Not proving you're right. Kindness brings change in a relationship. Works faster than anything I've ever seen. Had to learn that one the hard way. And by the way, I'm challenged by it all the time. And I will be challenged by it for the rest of my life. Listen, I hope you enjoyed today's program. This is Dani Johnson. DaniJohnson.com is where you can watch the replay of this program, as well as you can share it with other people. If you found that today's program was helpful and beneficial to you, please don't keep it to yourself. That's not nice. Be kind. Share it with other people. You can share it in your social media places, send it through email, text, whatever. Share it with some other friends and family members that might be struggling with something like this, and they just need that one little piece of advice that helps them get the breakthrough. It might not come from me. It came from the other people who were calling in today. So, DaniJohnson.com. Also, get your daily fix. The daily fix is free into your inbox every day. Free advice to help you with money, business, and relationships. God bless you. We hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.
Did you hear that last segment? Do you know someone else who needs to hear it? Go to DaniJohnson.com, find today's show, and share it online. This has been The Dani Johnson Show. Join us every weekday at 7 a.m. for more insights that will help you get to the life you've always wanted.
Hi, welcome to the Dani Johnson YouTube channel. We're super excited to have you here. And every single week, we're gonna make sure that you get awesome videos for your business, career, making more money, saving money, annihilating your debt, as well as helping you to handle those really tough problems that you have with people at home, as well as at work, and taking those really good relationships you already have and causing them to flourish and grow. All you have to do is click that subscribe button right down here. Click that and you'll be subscribed to an amazing community of people, as well as some great videos that will help to improve your life. Thanks so much for being here. Subscribe now would be good. Just click it. I know you can see it. It's somewhere down here. Okay, talk to you later. Bye.